Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome wherever you are and whenever you are in the world. And welcome to season 3, episode 9 of Candid Conversations about Network Marketing. I'm BK, and my co host, as usual, actually, I should point this way. This is Dr. Wayne. Hi, Dr. Wayne.
Hi, BK. Hi, everyone.
So I'm actually facing him because we are doing it via the internet, via the marvel of technology, right? So he is right in front of me, but if you are watching us, he is just beside me. So I should point this way, right? But this is just a simple little banter we usually do have before we start the show. So welcome to another episode of Candid Conversations about network marketing. And we are certainly happy that you are here with us, and we hope that we have been bringing value to you. And if you've been learning from this podcast and live streams, we certainly hope that you can help us by pushing it out and sharing it out to people, because that will really help as well, and let more people know about it. And the thing is, we are also archiving the episode. So if you do want to find the previous episodes, you can check us out at networkmarketerpodcast.com. Networkmarketerpodcast.com. And you can also hit us up for the show notes, right? So before in season 1, right, I used to have to start every podcast with a simple question to Dr. Wayne. So I think for nostalgia's sake, we'll just bring it back. Hey Doc, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, a bit of nostalgia is always nice. So, today we're going to be looking at how to lead a stress free life using daily rituals. In ancient medicine, they've always talked about the importance of routines, and we're just going to call them daily rituals. Now, so that's our topic for today. But remembering last time we looked at the key to success, how to rise above your emotions. And this was a really deep dive into looking at the fifth law of the universe, which is the law of rhythm. And we talked deeply about how energy is always in motion, and these motions create cycles, they create circadian rhythms, they create all the different think of even the moon and the sun with regards to the tides, etc., as well. And we went really deep in then how we can use this law of rhythm, because it's a mutable law, which means if we use it for us, we can actually rise above it and become a better person. And the end section we got to was it went something like never allow your emotions to swing too far to the left or to the right. And one of the things that we kind of spoke about through that is, say, for example, if you look at a rainforest, or if you look at the ocean, when you do that, you're basically in a space of usually gratitude and in awe of how beautiful it looks. And that's where we need to be when we're looking at the law of rhythm. And this is how we can change our pendulum from either swinging too far to the left or swinging too far to the right, which means we may be overjoyous and people can see we're over enthusiastic, we're the over enthusiastic network marketer, or on the other side, we are now the people can feel that you're more not as enthusiastic, you might have more anxiety or more emotions on this side of it. Our goal, therefore, is to sit in the middle and never allowing our emotions to swing too far. And this is how we can use this fifth law in our favor, because it's mutable. It was a great session, wasn't it, BK?
Yes, most definitely. And I think we kind of decided that the a good word to use was measured, right?
Yes.
So our response, our emotions should be measured, should be suitable for the occasion, for the audience, for the person, right? It
Yeah.
is natural. I mean, when you just join network marketing, and of course, we all know there's always this honeymoon effect, right? You are so excited, you think that the whole world should be taking part with you. I mean, we certainly hope that the whole world takes part with us, but realistically speaking, that is not possible, right? I mean, otherwise, nobody else would be famous chefs, famous inventors, and so on, right? So that's not possible. So we look for our tribe. We look for our tribe, and that's
Yeah.
the good thing about the industry. And today we're going to learn about something that is very interesting, which is about having rituals and routines in our life. And I think I mentioned this in another episode before. In many ways, sometimes when as human beings and human nature, we kind of feel a little bit of resistance when we hear something like a law or like a rule, because we kind of like to be free, right? We like to be free. But I would like to point out a different perspective to things, because there are certain things that are helpful to us once we know how it actually operates properly, right?
Yes.
A simple example would be, let's say, if you think of a game of football or soccer, depending on where you are and what it's called, right? The reason why there's a goal post and the reason why there are line markings on the field is because that actually is it defines the rules of the game, right? And because you know the rules of the game, you can therefore enjoy the game and play the game well, because this is how the game works. Now imagine if a soccer game, the rules change all the time and the goalpost is moving all the time and it's widening or narrowing all the time, then it doesn't become fun, because then things change all the time, right? So in life and in business and in everything else, even in the universe, I believe that's why there are laws and rules that exist, because it then helps us to operate within a space that we know, okay, this is what I can do. And if I do it this way, I know I can get results in that way, right? That's what I think.
Yes. No, it's very, very true. And when you do understand these laws, it just makes life so much easier. So much easier, as you use a very good analogy with football. And you can use the same analogy with even if you're boating, for example. If you live in an area where there's reefs and you go out at low tide and you try to go against the universal law of the law of rhythm, meaning there's high tide and low tide, and you try to go in between the reefs at low tide, you could get unstuck. It wouldn't take much, especially if you got reefs very close to the surface. They could end up basically up against the reef and not having a good day. But because you know it's a law, you understand it, what you do then is you allow the tide to come in. On half tide, you can go straight over the top of the reefs without any problem at all. You feel safe, you feel secure. And that's the important reason why we are going through these laws of the universe and then getting you to understand them. And it's like anything, if I said to you, I want you to say you've got a 3-year-old that never rode a bike before. This is a typical analogy that's been used thousands, if not millions and millions of times. You get a 3-year-old, 4-year-old wants to ride a bike. They are not so good at it. Let's put it that way. And it's not the second time they become good. It's not the third time or the fourth time. It's the fifth time, the sixth time. It's not even the 10th time. It might be the 100th time of going out and riding that bike that they actually become a little bit more proficient at it. And then it might be their 1,000th time or the 1,000,000th time where now they can jump over ramps and they can actually do backflips and all these other things. But it takes a lot of practice and understanding. And it's exactly the same with what we're suggesting here now. And this is why we always suggest, please go back and listen to the ones that you feel comfortable about, because the more you listen, the more your frontal lobe gets engaged and actually understands these universal laws inside out, like the rules of football, like the rules of the tide that we just used as analogies there. You can really change your life. And that's what we're here for. We're helping you to change your life. Now, what we're going to go through now is, yes, routines as mentioned, and we're going to use the 7 spiritual laws of success as suggested by Deepak Chopra. So this is really nothing to do with the 7 universal laws that we're talking about, but it has got to do with the 7 universal laws. It's just another way of looking at it, I suppose. But before we get into that, we talked about the importance of understanding that how to lead a successful life, we need these rituals or these routines. And to put it another way, this is just something that I came across recently, that it takes 10,000 hours. That's how long it takes to master something, says noted author and social psychologist Malcolm Gladwell. So think of that 4-year-old about to ride a bike. And now, after probably many years of doing the same thing over and over again, you're mastering something. Now that young child, maybe now 14 or 15, can now actually do a somersault in the air and land on the two wheels and feel ecstatic because I've done that. But that took thousands of hours. Now, to put this into some sort of context, 10,000 hours, when you do the maths, that works out to be about 14 months if you don't sleep. Okay? In other words, if you really want to get really good at something, you must put in the time. However, there is a shortcut, and the shortcut is to find a mentor and stick with them. Find a routine. Find a mentor that you can chat to, work with, and this is in your upline. Find a mentor that you can help you to work through your challenges that you may have. Like, for example, these days, if I want to tackle something new, and I'll use something that use an example that, say, I don't know how to play the guitar, and right now I get the urge to play a guitar. I know from experience that if I go and learn to play the guitar by myself, and say I do that for 6 months to a year, and now I want to go to a next level, and I now engage a guitar mentor, I know what he will be doing or she will be doing will be actually basically pulling me apart back to the basics, because I've got so many things that I've actually done that's wrong. Not that it was wrong in my eyes, but it was kind of wrong because it wasn't the way to actually start off learning, and I actually learned not very good habits. So, when I learned how to surf, I immediately went and got coaches on how to teach me how to surf. When I played golf, after I didn't know this at this particular time because I started golf at a younger age, but when I got to a stage where I wanted to actually improve to really get to that next level, I engaged a golf coach, and that golf coach did exactly that. He stripped me right back to the bare basics as if I was starting all over again. All over again. Imagine putting in all this effort and I have to be stripped back to the bare bones and then basically restart again. Luckily, I was a good eye-ball coordinator, so I was able to hit the ball and do it. But once I got the mechanics correctly as per my golf coach, I then went from did you know in golf coach, there's some interesting statistics. The average golf handicap is 26. That has not changed for decades upon decades. They say if you get your handicap below 10, you're in the top 5%. And if you get your handicap below 5, you're in about the top 3 to 2% in the world, by the way. And when I first started out getting a coach, I was around about 18, so I was okay in my handicap. And eventually I got down to a 4. So the reason I'm bringing this up is it's exactly the same with your network marketing business. Find a mentor, listen to podcasts like this, get ideas that is going to put you into a good mode of action. Learn the laws, like the law of what we were just talking about there, the law of rhythm, understanding that yes, you can come in with this euphoric nature of enthusiasm, but you're going to blow everyone out of the water. Or if you're more, I don't know what to do, more timid, more anxious, your prospects are going to feel that as well. So if you find a mentor to help you to move through this, you're going to find life so much easier. So I'm pretty sure you'll understand that finding a mentor, hopefully after what we've said, will help you to look at setting your goals. You'll find someone that is be able to lead by example, be able to teach you, inspire you, and give you the vision. What is your why? Look at teamwork, look at motivation, and therefore by finding a mentor, you'll actually find success a lot easier. So really important to understand routines, finding a mentor, getting that routine so you have a regular time frame with your mentors.
The thing is, because Dr. Wayne is from the Western culture and I'm from the Eastern culture, I think sometimes we bring double the value to you as a listener because we can marry the two. And many times because I'm Asian and I'm Chinese, and sometimes some of the things that he says is also reflected in Asian culture. And there is a saying in Chinese, and loosely translated, it simply means that if you want to go to a certain place, just go with someone who has been there before. Right? If you want to reach a certain destination, all you have to do is just follow someone who has been there before, and then you basically know all the shortcuts and all the pitfalls, right? Because the person knows exactly how to get you there, right? And this is
Exactly.
exactly what we are trying to say here, because 10,000 hours, if you divide it out, I mean, like what Dr. Wayne was saying, if you do not sleep, it's 14 months. And if you do sleep and then you just do, basically, 8 hours a day, which is a normal work day, that will take you 3.5 years, right? But a mentor can shortcut the process for you because he has put in the 10,000 hours, and
Yeah.
some of these activities can be transferred, or knowledge can be transferred to you, right? So you do
Yes.
not have to spend the 10,000 hours to learn some of the things that he has said, because he would have gone through the hard work and then he has digested it and learned the principles. And when he transfers to you and you accept it, then it shortcuts your process. So, in essence, we also want to highlight that if you are serious about network marketing, one of the key characteristics that we find, or traits that we find for a successful network marketer, is that you are coachable, right? You are coachable, meaning to say, like what Dr. Wayne suggests and like what we are saying here, you are willing to find someone who has achieved a level of success that you are aspiring to, and you listen to what they say, because obviously if they
Yeah.
have done it and they have achieved it, then they must know something that you do not know, right? So listen to them and take advice, and if you are coachable, then the best part about network marketing is that you have access to many levels of coaches, right? And who will coach you for free. Unlike like what Dr. Wayne was saying, if you hire a golf coach, you are going to pay for the golf coach, right? If you hire a
Yeah.
surf coach, you're going to pay for the surf coach. But in network marketing, due to the design of the business and the industry, many of your upline leaders are happy to coach you, provided you are coachable, right? So I need to put out the caveat there first.
Yes. Very true. Very, very true. And I was just thinking there, even with regards to these universal laws, BK, I don't even think I've mentioned it to yourself, but I've been exposed to these universal laws from about 15, and then I kind of put it to the side because of growing up and teenage and all the things that happens during those years. And then around about probably 23-ish, somewhere there, I picked it up again. And so I've been doing this now for over 40 years in understanding these spiritual laws and actually watching them unfold. I've seen people, for example, when they've got in contact with myself as a coach, no matter what it be, what they want to aspire to. And we've talked about this before, BK, haven't we, with regards to when you understand these rules and you put them into routines, like the game of football, like if you own a boat that we used before as ways of explaining it. What happens then is you collapse time. So the goals that may once upon a time have taken, maybe what most people would think might be you're going to take 5 years to get to diamond or whatever it might be in your network marketing, you can collapse time and do that in 18 months. You can collapse time and do that in 14, 15 weeks. When you actually understand these particular universal laws, which is just incredible. And I remember when I first got in contact with them, I was about 25, somewhere there, basically had nothing. I had to borrow money from my future father-in-law to get a car, second-hand car, to go on our wedding, and to go on our what's the next phase of a wedding? It's got a mental blank there.
Honeymoon.
But honeymoon, thank you. And after that, for our honeymoon, and had nothing. And one of my major goals was to own my first home outright by the time I was 30, meaning mortgage free. And I did that in 4 and a bit years. I learned how to collapse time. And these are things that BK and I are able to teach people in terms of how we can, and that's what this whole podcast is about as well, is helping you to basically understand who you are and let go of those left and right extremes, be in the middle and neutral, and let the universe bring its beautiful orchestra of life to you so you can experience it at a level you've never known before. And I think that leads nicely. Sorry, BK, you were about to say?
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to chime in and say that my journey is quite similar to Dr. Wayne's, because when I first encountered all these things that we are talking about here, my first reaction was also, sounds a bit iffy, esoteric, But the way I have been raised has been, if I experience something or if I'm exposed to something more than once from multiple sources, then the chances of the universe trying to tell me something is pretty high. So if I hear about this idea from person A, and then person B, and then person C, and then from the radio or from the media or something I'm reading, then I kind of something goes off in my head and says that, okay, BK, the universe is trying to tell you something because it's putting up all these signposts everywhere, right? And
Yes,
so we are one of the signposts for you, okay? Because this podcast,
nicely put.
we're trying to
Yeah.
bring awareness about all these universal laws to you. But I'm guessing if you are on this podcast, you're listening to us in any way or watching us, you're going to be exposed to multiple sources that tell you the same things. In fact, what is interesting now is that many of the wise people in the world today, they kind of call where we are in today, the period of time that we are in today, a modern renaissance of the
Yes.
human mind, right? We are in a modern renaissance, and a lot of things we are starting to be we are awakening to certain things that we used to know, but we may have kept it as a back burner. But now, because of the marriage of modern science, quantum physics, as well as ancient wisdom, there is a very nice melding, and it is bringing forth what we call a modern renaissance. And hopefully, we are one of the signposts for you, and then you are paying attention to the signposts around you. That's my hope, at least.
Well put, well put. And we'll move into the seven, I think that's a good segue into the seven spiritual laws by Deepak Chopra. Now, I think today, BK, we're probably only going to get through 3 of the 7 or 4 of the 7. We'll do the best we can. And
Maybe we
then I
give them
think
an
people,
overview, just an overview, and then we can
that's
talk
a
in
good
detail,
idea.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll give an overview and then we'll go really deep into it during the next session. That's a good
Yes.
idea. Okay, so the if you want to get the book, it's called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. And what he does, he divides the 7 spiritual laws into different days of the week. So, for example, he suggests on a Sunday we look at the law of pure potential. So then on Monday we look at the law of giving. Then on Tuesday the law of karma. On Wednesday the law of least effect. And then on Thursday the law of intention and desire. And on Friday the law of detachment. And then on Saturday the law of dharma. So let's just go through a little phrase for each of them, and then we'll probably wrap it up, BK, and then we'll talk more about it next time. So the law of pure potential is take time to be silent, to just be. So this is on Sunday. Take time out for you. Monday, the law of giving. Today, bring whoever you encounter a gift, a compliment, a flower. How fantastic would that be if we did that every Monday? Tuesday, law of karma. Understand that every action generates a force of energy that returns to us in like kind. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. And I've spoken to many, many people, and they're easily able to really give a negative emotion of explosion of negativity. Easily able to do that, but they find it very difficult to do the same in a positive way. But however, whenever we're doing that in the negative way, there has to be an effect of that, and will affect us, unfortunately, in one way or another. So that's understanding Tuesday, the law of karma. Wednesday is the law of least effort. Accept people, accept situations and events as they occur. Just be in acceptance. Thursday, the law of intention and desire. Inherent in every intention and desire is the mechanics for its fulfillment. Interesting. Make a list of your desires. So the law of intention and desire is on a Thursday. Make a list of your desires, of what you want in life. Friday, the law of detachment. Allow yourself and others the freedom to be who they are. How many times do we see people trying to control the situation, control themselves, be the perfectionist, control their children, control their friends and families? And Saturday is the law of dharma. Seek your higher self. Discover your unique talents. So these are the 7 spiritual laws as suggested by Deepak Chopra. And by understanding and putting these into rituals or routines, what we then do is we give ourselves permission to actually achieve that which we desire the most in our lives.
Excellent. I mean, it's a framework, and I've always
Yeah.
liked frameworks. So this is a framework of 7 days, and because we have 7 days in a week, right? It nicely lines it up. And if you start, the reason why I think very wise people set up frameworks is because it allows us to latch onto it very quickly, right? So
Yeah.
that it follows a certain it gets us in a routine quickly, and human beings actually love routine. If you think back
Yes.
into you think back to any situation back in school, right? The very first day of class, if you sat in the right bottom corner of the room, likelihood is that the second time you go into the same classroom, you're going to sit in the same right bottom corner of that room. Every people are like that. We are creatures of routine, and all these things that we are talking about is excellent because it sets you up for a simple routine. So 7 days, 7 things you can do easily daily, 7 ways to focus yourself, and that can elevate your level of success in many ways. So we don't have time to go through them today, but we just gave you a simple framework, and Dr. Wayne has done a nice set of notes for this as well, for the podcast show notes. So if you do want them, please check us out, right? And then we'll have time to go over each and every one of these 7 spiritual laws in greater detail, right, Dr. Wayne?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So so we're going to wrap up today's episode, and hopefully we have awakened something in you, hopefully. And so if you want to check us out in the previous episodes, is at networkmarketerpodcast.com. I say again, it's networkmarketerpodcast.com. And if you want to check out, if you are like an eager beaver like I am, right, and you want to check out the spiritual laws first, then look us up at 5, that's a numerical number 5, 5hiddenreasons.com. And you can actually, we have a fully fleshed out course on that already, right? So that is already all available. And again, if you want the show notes, just hit us up at networkmarketerpodcast.com. We're happy to send them to you. And of course, all the other previous episodes that we have done before. So thank you for joining us, and thank you, Dr. Wayne, for preparing the show notes as usual. And this is wonderful, and the framework that we have from Deepak Chopra, the 7 spiritual laws, right? That's a very good starting point. And remember that all these things kind of blend together. Even as I look at some of the 7 spiritual laws, I already can see certain ideas that tie in with things that I have learned from other mentors or other people, right? They kind of blend in. Like, for example, why do we need to flesh out our desires? Or why do we need to list out our desires? Because they are kind of like seeds. And if you don't plant them into the ground, they don't flourish, right? So
That's right.
some ideas like this, we will probably mention them as well. So thank you, Dr. Wayne. Wonderful episode as usual. I will catch you next week.
Thanks, PK. Thanks, everyone. Yep. Catch you next week.